was expecting more from guys like Forster and Denoyer and Brink. I guess what was your view of those games from those guys from up top?
Those guys in particular, I think there's another level. I was talking to Patrick Sharp about those games, and he said the first one he played in, he was all excited, and second and third ones are really hard to play in just because your focus is more on the main camp. So I think there's a little bit of that in it. I thought Tyson was frustrated. I think he worked, he competed. Brinkert the same. I think his execution was off, and Desi looked off a little bit to me, but I know he's come in great shape. He's been here a lot of the summer and worked hard, so I'm sure he'll figure it out. So, but I'm not too worried about any of them.
For the guys that are kind of on the cusp roster-wise,
Yep.
how much will you measure and evaluate this weekend's games versus the big camp and getting in regular preseason?
I think it's all big camp, to be honest with you, for the guys that are on the cusp. I think, me personally, I kind of gravitate to watching the guys it's the first time over here, the young guys, recently drafted players, see how they can hang in there in those games and see their thought process. And obviously a lot of those kids need to get significantly stronger when you're playing against some of these defensemen on the Rangers had there. They're 23, 24, 25 years old. So, but it's a great experience. They get a little taste of it, and they know where they need to get to in order to hopefully play in the NHL one day.
I remember at development camp you said you were pretty eager to see Emil Andre play with NHL guys. Is that similar with Desnoyers and Forsters? Like the evaluation will really pick up when you see them with NHL players?
No, I think Tyson. I think he's worked hard on his skating for one, but I think it's just naturally you assume everything's just gonna happen out there, and I think it's a bit of a wake up call. But I think his skating's really improved. But the pace when you get up with the big boys, especially when you get into game time, the pace of the games are gonna come a lot faster, and he can adjust. He's a smart player. So.
In the rookies game, it was notable that Matt Brown had an opportunity playing the upper end of the line, kind of an older prospect.
Yep.
What were your impressions of that?
He's as advertised. He's a shorter kid, but if you see him off the ice, he's a tank. Obviously, his speed was notable. His energy. Thought he's on pucks. He goes to the hard areas and got a couple looks and finished off one on Friday. And I thought maybe on Saturday he wasn't quite as noticeable, but I think he opened some guys, some of the coaches' eyes, especially Lappy, who didn't know him quite as well. He was in practice a lot late in the year after he signed, but he didn't get much action or any action in the game. So I think it was good for him, and he'll hopefully get another look here in camp maybe.
Is he a guy who you guys are maybe considering the possibility of offering an ELC to?
We'll see how it goes throughout the year, but right now, just with their contracts and whatnot, I think he'll have to earn a spot in Lehigh, and we'll see how his game develops there, but it's always an option.
I think I saw a good bit of the Flyers being coaching staff there. Did they get a chance to see Emil Andre, and what was their feedback on him?
Yeah, Torts watched the second game on TV. Shawzy was there, and the rest of the group was there. But, I think Andre, especially in the third period, I thought he elevated his game. But he, just so you know, he came over late. He had his passport was held up in customs, so he flew over there. So we just gave him an extra day just to kind of hopefully get a little bit acclimated as far as sleep and whatnot. But no, it'll be exciting, and I know Torts is excited to see him in NHL camp.
One guy who this weekend kind of was a revelation, not necessarily that we didn't know who he was, but especially after last season, was Zayd Wisdom.
Yeah.
What do you think he has done over this summer to maybe shake off what happened to him last year?
Well, I think first of all, he's a great kid. He works so hard off the ice, especially this summer. Like you guys saw him when we first drafted him. He had a long ways to go physically as far as conditioning and what he had to do, and he's worked extremely hard on that side of it. Last year, I just couldn't. He's spinning his tires there. He lost his confidence, got away from the type of game that he needed to play. Zayd has hands. He's showed him his finish. He can shoot the puck. He can, we want him to score, whatnot. But biggest part of his game for him to be effective and earn a spot is in the lineup is his physical play and being involved and being a pain in the ass to play against. And you saw that this weekend. And once that was in place, he's moving his feet. He's involved, and things were happening for him. So I think that was the biggest thing that Chris Stewart's talked to him a lot of our groups. So, and Lappy's worked hard with him last year. And I think, I think those two games, hopefully he can build on it. He's earned himself, I haven't talked to Torts yet, but I assume he's earned himself exhibition game, and hopefully he can build his game from there.
The past few years, it was sort of a partial rebuild. This year, more of a commitment to sort of doing the whole thing over.
Mm-hmm.
Do you get a sense that the players understand there's opportunity here that maybe wasn't here for the past few years, and that kind of inspires.
Yeah,
them.
well, for sure. And I think there's a number of guys that are, you look at the number of guys we have here, veterans and guys that are, you guys probably have penciled into the American League maybe. But there's some guys here coming to make the team, and, we're not in a position to, we'll get torts once people compete. If someone gets beat out and has to go on waivers or whatever, so be it. That's just a reality. But I do think, the mindset for a young player, there's an opportunity here to get better and obviously get an opportunity. So we got, with Coots back and Atkinson back healthy, there's a couple spots that are, they're solidified. But, as far as the bottom part of our lineup, there's a couple spots to be fought for.
Brandon, kind of a non-camp related matter. Can you maybe take us into the communication or what the communication's been like with Matt Bay, Mishka's people over there, and kind of navigating the whole St. Petersburg, the Sochi situation?
Yeah, I know Riley, there's some app that he can translate. They've been in contact, and Zamula's been in contact, talks to him regularly. And obviously we were in touch with his agent, so Matt Bay was extremely frustrated not playing. He had goal of being top scorer in the league, and you're sitting there and they have 40-something players on their roster, and obviously he was frustrated. And as a young guy in Russia, you kind of have to bite your tongue and just put in the work and hopefully get to play. And but I think for him to move back to Sochi and whatever, he just wants to play, and that's all. Personally, that's all I care about. Like he's a young kid, he needs to play games. He needs to. He's very driven, very focused, but at least he's playing. He's going to play lots of minutes and get opportunities, and hopefully they'll win some games too, which is great.
In watching the practices and the rookie games so far, guys like Barkey and Gendron, Shirnick, Sumala, all these guys can really skate.
Yep.
Has that been a focus of the organization, bringing more of that element into the talent pool?
Speed for sure. We talked about it. We also talked about size, and a lot of those guys aren't the biggest, but it's a fine line. But I think where you saw those kids drafted, I think there's value. But they've worked hard. All those kids, in particular, like Barkey's a smaller. He's got a long ways to go as far as where he's going to need to get to physically. But he's a really good skater, extremely smart. You saw him in those games against a bigger, older competition. There's zero fear in his game. He's got a lot of swagger, and he's a really good junior already. But it's exciting to see where his game's going to get to when he's able to put on 15, 20 pounds and become a man. You see him off the ice, he looks like he's too young to be here. He's 12 years old, but a great kid. He's got a smile on his face. He's a little bit like TK as far as he just loves to play the game, loves to be at the rink, and a really good kid to be around. And the other guys, Alexei's obviously really worked hard off the ice. He's put on weight. He's stronger, can fly, can really shoot it. Now it's the rest of his game he's going to have to figure out. Junior goals came easy to him. Now it's going to get a lot harder to produce. And when you're not producing, it's play away from the puck and getting the puck back and the details and just find a niche for himself. So, but I think team speed is something that our scouts have been told to watch for. And obviously, if we can get the package of the size, the speed, and the skill, that's perfect. But the speed and the skill gives them a chance.